Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Temple Institute Parsha class. My name is Gedalia Meyer, and I'm podcasting from Ma'ale Adumim in Israel. The phenomenon of cheating is one of the very few truly universal inclinations of human beings. It is so universal that we have learned to expect it wherever we go. It is there all throughout our lives, from our first memories to our dying day. If it weren't such a despicable trait, it could almost be said that it is what defines us as human beings. It is here from the get-go, even though nobody taught it to us, and it remains there always, no matter how much we strive to avoid it and to despise it. From where do we get this very common, very human trait? Is it hardwired into the brain somehow? Is it a product of millions of years of evolutionary development? Is it learned through life experiences and either cemented in or abhorred as a result of the choices we make through our lives? Perhaps it is a combination of all of these, as are many human tendencies, but this one somehow seems to come in spades. We all believe that we can spot a cheater from a mile away. We put up our guards and hope for the best. Sometimes this works, but at others, frustratingly, it just doesn't. Then again, this is all assuming that we are the good guys in the game. It could be the other way around. Sometimes, as we all know, we just have that urge to pull one over on some unsuspecting somebody. It just arises within us, and we see no reason to fight it. The rationalizations are a dime a dozen. Nobody will ever know. It doesn't matter anyway. This person would do the same to me in a flash. Whatever. Cheating and deception is such a fascinating thing that it deserves its own branch of knowledge in the great system of human intelligence. It should be up there with all kinds of other psychological or social phenomena, like obsessive-compulsive behavior or depression or sexual attraction. But it never seems to get the attention that it has earned. Somehow it just slips through the cracks of whatever check and balance system we have for all kinds of behaviors, and we accept it as one more thing that simply has to be accepted, like bad odors or loud people. It is a bit odd, but as universal as cheating is, so is our acquiescence to its ubiquity. We don't know why this is so, but it is nevertheless. Perhaps it is a subconscious result of our own tendency to succumb to the power of this urge that drives us to accept it in others. Perhaps it is just too darn common to really do anything about, so we don't really do anything about it. More likely, it's just not worth the time and the effort to attempt to fix something that can't really be fixed. We may seek justice in some manner, we may resent it and scream bloody murder on social media, and we may complain to the perpetrator directly. But in the end, we are forced to let it go, or else let us eat us up from the insides. It has been there for as long as anybody has been keeping track of things like this. There is no reason to doubt that it was with us in the caves, and perhaps long before that. There is evidence of it in the animal kingdom, and certainly primates like monkeys and chimpanzees are not above such underhanded tactics. It is traceable throughout the long timeline of human literature, finding a place in every culture and time. Even the ancient gods cheated on each other or on their hapless subjects, the humans. For our part, we cheated on them and frequently got away with it. The Bible has no shortage of examples of cheating and deceit, from Adam and Eve until the books of wisdom that represent the end of the biblical period. We find it everywhere. There may be no better example of it than one of the main personalities in this week's Parsha. The Parsha is called Vayeitzei. That word means, and he went. It refers to Jacob leaving his family home in Canaan to escape the wrath of his brother Esau, who had decided to kill him over having been tricked out of receiving the primary blessing from their father in last week's Parsha. Jacob journeys to the east, to Mesopotamia, to the original home of his grandfather Abraham, to find refuge with his long-lost relatives. He was specifically sent there to find a wife for himself from his own family, as opposed to one of the local girls in Canaan. The Parsha begins with Jacob leaving and heading towards the ancient homeland. A curious event happens to him right at the beginning, where he has a very vivid dream of a ladder reaching the heavens with angels going up and down it. This famous image is found all over the world, and it evokes the idea of Jacob's journey and his life being intertwined with the divine. He receives the prophetic message from God that he will be protected wherever he goes and will eventually return to his home. Following this is the entire sequence of events of Jacob's life in the East. He first meets his niece, Rachel, whom he is immediately taken with. He then meets her father, Lavan, whose presence dominates the entire Parsha. In the course of his initial dealings with Lavan, Jacob agrees to work for him for 7 years in exchange for the right to marry Rachel. When the 7 years are up, Lavan substitutes his elder daughter, Leah, for Rachel. Jacob, for some unclear reason, doesn't suspect the ruse until it is too late, and he finds himself married to Leah. He complains to Lavan about being tricked, and Lavan responds that he was merely following the accepted custom of marrying off the oldest daughter first before the younger. Jacob then agrees to work for another 7 years for Rachel's hand. In the course of these 14 years, Jacob builds his family. The first 4 sons come from Leah, who proves to be quite fertile, while Rachel is barren. In response to her inability to conceive, she offers Jacob the familiar biblical opportunity to take her maid, Bilhah, as a wife and to produce children through her that will be credited in some way to Rachel. 2 more sons emerge from this arrangement. When Leah sees that she also has stopped conceiving, she arranges the same deal with her maid Zilpah, and 2 other sons are born. Finally, in the course of an exchange between Rachel and Leah over marital rights, Leah acquires some aphrodisiac roots from Rachel and conceives first 1 son and then another. Her births end with the birth of her daughter Dinah, the first girl mentioned among Jacob's descendants. After this, Rachel finally gives birth to her first son Joseph. This is followed by a very long episode in which Jacob goes about building his own wealth while still working for Laban. He makes an arrangement of raising the sheep, which seems to be very favorable to Laban in terms of how many sheep Jacob will get and how many Laban will get. But Jacob rigs things up with the sheep's ovulation cycles and how they reproduce, and manages to acquire an enormous herd for himself. His system is quite vague in the Torah, even though it is described at length. Needless to say, Laban is furious with him and accuses him of stealing what really belongs to him. In the end, Jacob is forced to go behind Laban's back and to flee the area without informing him. He leaves with all of his family and all of his now vast possessions. Laban, sensing that he has been outsmarted at his own game, pursues after him with his entourage and catches up with him somewhere east of the Jordan River. He accuses Jacob of deception and of stealing his idol. In the course of this dispute, the 2 agree to disagree and to part ways. They make a classic biblical treaty with a stone pillar as a witness, and that is the end of their uneven relationship. The Parsha ends with Jacob encountering a band of angels as he is about to re-enter the Holy Land. Many people are troubled by the explicit detail of Jacob deceiving Laban. The key quote is, quote, Jacob stole the heart of Laban the Aramean, in that he didn't tell him that he was leaving. A few verses later, Laban repeats this phrase in his accusation. Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done in stealing my heart and leading my daughters away like captives?" This phrase, stole my heart, is generally understood as meaning deceive. It is highly ironic that Laban, of all people, is accusing Jacob of the very thing that he himself did years earlier. Not only that, but in the course of their subsequent argument, Jacob defends his actions because of the fact that Laban kept switching the terms of their agreements over the years. Quote, "For 20 years I have worked for your house, 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your sheep, and you changed my pay 10 times. So how is Jacob justified in deceiving Laban? Is deception morally permitted if one is only attempting to deal with the deceiver on their own terms? It does seem like this is the clear message from this parsha. As long as Jacob tried to play things straight with Laban, he was setting himself up for failure. It was only because he attempted to beat Laban at his own game, with his own methods, that he ultimately succeeded. This is not the most encouraging message to learn from all this, but it does seem to come out directly from the story. What are we supposed to walk away with from all this? Perhaps on the simplest level, it is the idea that one has to be smart or wise in their dealings with others. While this may seem so obvious that it hardly needs stating, in reality it is anything but. We constantly fall for deception in every walk of life. We warn ourselves in advance, and we still find ourselves victims of its omnipresence. Advanced planning may be the first line of defense, but it isn't the only method. When things get really sticky, sometimes we have to go on the offensive. We have to take the game to the deceiver's court and use their tactics against them. For better or worse, this may be the only thing that actually gets results. It is not just on the individual scale that deception rules the roost. On the community and national scale, it is just as bad, if not worse. The war in Gaza has taken what might be a dramatic turn with the announcement that a hostage exchange deal is in the works. While most of the Israelis support this attempt, everyone is wary of what Hamas may be up to. Pretty much nobody trusts them to keep their word. Everybody's unspoken fear is that Hamas will pull a fast one on Israel and leave them high and dry. We will see how things play out over the next couple of days, but in the meantime, it would be well worth the Israeli authorities' time to take a leaf out of Jacob's book and to be ready to give Hamas a taste of their own medicine. It is probably the only language they will understand. When one is dealing with the deceiver, one has to be ready to deceive. Shabbat Shalom.